Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another fantastic episode of Stories Around Azeroth. I, as always, am Pete Titan Screen Navigator, joined by the magnanimous Frazley TC.
Hey, good to be here, everybody.
And we are delighted to be joined by the one and only HaughtyChicken. How are you doing, my darling?
I'm doing very well, very well.
Joining us from the early hours of Australasia. Pretty much we've got the entire globe covered here. I'm in Europe, Frazzy's in America, and we've got Australia covered. So there you go.
Yeah. We're all here. We're all here.
Yeah.
It always amazes me to realize that Australia is in a different season than the United States, because it's like over here it's all hot.
It is cold here, and it is. You talk about an early show. It is 2:15 in the morning, in winter. It is freezing, but I couldn't be any other place. I was so excited, so excited.
Oh, excited to have you here.
It's absolutely excited to have you here. Thank you for giving us some of your precious time.
Yeah.
Especially so early in the morning.
I'm a night owl.
No, I think we all are.
What, is that a night owl or a night chicken?
I mean, then we get on to, oh my goodness, what are they? Boom chicken metaphors, and then we just start calling people man asparagus again.
We'll just get into a big hole there, I think.
A whole druid thing, yeah. But yes, we are here for another fantastic episode of Stories Around Azeroth. Apologies from myself. I was very ill last week, so that we didn't do a show last week. So we're another one behind. Drat. We'll have to make it up somewhere. I might do another show. But there's been a lot that's happened in the game in the last week. We're not going to cover it. We're not a new show. We're here to talk with some friends and talk about what we've been doing in Warcraft this week. So, Haughty, as you're the guest, how about you tell people a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to in Azeroth in the last week?
What have we been up to? A little bit about ourselves. Okay, a quick background. I started Twitch 3 months ago last Tuesday. So literally 3 months ago, I pressed the button, go live. Big deal for me. Very, 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 very nervous to do it. So the community that we have, we call us the Coop, the Chicken Coop. And I've been playing WoW for a very long time, probably just before Burning Crusade. Hubby's been playing since beta back in the day. So we've been playing for a really long time. And we played together. And I was looking for someone to watch on Twitch that was a little bit older that I could connect with. Someone that was a bit chill. I didn't really want a lot of, noisy gameplay or raiding. I raided a lot back in the day, but I wanted something a bit chill. And so I decided to stream. And I thought, well, somebody might watch me. So 3 months later, I have quite a few watching me, and the community's amazing. And so this week, we tend to have a set schedule, though we've now added an extra day on a Sunday because we now play in Europe as well as OCE because we have so many people in Europe. And they kept saying, when are you going to come to Europe? So we did that last week. So this week was very much building up our community and our gameplay over in Europe, which we just finished. We just finished a 5-hour stream nearly, I think, in Europe. That's pretty much our week.
How do you find it? Because obviously there's a little bit of an overlap, obviously, isn't there, between like your time zone and ours. So by the time it gets later on in the day for you, we're just getting up and it's the beginning. So
yeah.
Do you find there's a lot more overlap between your time zones and ours than you would get, say, more American time zones?
Look, I think part of the reason that I stream so late, so I stream from about 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. my time till about 2 a.m., which is really, so for Oceanic time, I have very few Australians in my stream because they're sleeping.
Yeah.
For the Americans, it's often super early in the morning. It's like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. for them. So I don't see anybody for their prime time either. So there's no one really playing. They come and say hi, have a coffee while we chat. And for the Europeans, it's often their lunchtime or after their lunchtime. So I really stream when no one is playing. The plus side of that is because of the pandemic, a lot of people will stop and have a chat over their lunch, or they come and play with us when they've just got home or they're working from home. But it's interesting because of that. I don't get a lot of raids from folks. I don't get other streamers come and raid me. And look, that's fine. We get some. But our community is really built on less about playing together and more about getting to know each other, which I think has been core to how we've built a really nice, knit little community. It's a strange time to stream from here, but it's been a blessing, I think, in a lot of ways.
Right. That's really cool. I mean, you said you started on EU. You were obviously on EU today as well. Have you found playing with the EU folks compared to playing with the Oceanic guys?
Well, we don't tend to play with many Oceanic. We really don't have that many because I don't play at a time when they play. Most of the people that we have been playing with have been some NA folk. It's been really interesting playing the EU. I didn't realise that nothing came across from my other account. No mounts. I have 2 promotional mounts, no battle pets, and I have well over 1,000. No transmogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's been good. And you all don't have randomised names. The community were beside themselves and I showed them.
Like
What's with that?
I didn't realise that until I think Frazley pointed it out to me the other week. Like I thought we had randomised names, at least back in the day.
No, no.
I vaguely remembered having the button for it, but apparently I was mistaken. So.
Yeah, because like Frazley actually has a randomized name for a gnome, and I just like I love the name so much. So I mean, if it wouldn't have been for the randomizer, I might be like Gertrude
Indeed.
yeah. Like
I know. We showed the community. I brought it up on the screen so they could see me creating a character, and I showed them on NA, and I showed them how the randomizer will choose a name reasonably relative to that race, and they were gobsmacked. They had no idea. But then someone Googled why, and we found out that randomising names within the Europe region could be offensive or could result in an offensive name, and so that is why.
Sense.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
I think there's a lot of nationalities to take into effect, really, when it comes to the entirety of the European Union. So.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
And you bring up a point that I had not thought about, that really a lot of streaming is predominantly North American and focused in that aspect. It's cool that you are reaching a demographic that's not been catered to. And I think that's really been a strong suit, because it's like, because there's a lot of people I know who are like, you tell me, oh, you're streaming way too late for me, or like I'm going to bed. And
Yeah, and we've found out that people look forward, and it's lovely, people look forward to getting up, getting their coffee, getting their breakfast, and then turning on our stream. And that's why I talk a lot. It's exhausting by the end of the stream, but it really is like having a whole lot of folks, and I don't see how many I've got because it makes me nervous, so they know not to tell me, that we're just having a bit of a cup of tea and a biscuit in the lounge most of the time. We just happen to be killing things in the background, but you know.
Yeah. It's why I like talk radio was always interesting, except the ideology in talk radio, not so much, but it was nice having somebody who felt like they were talking to you. And it's cool that you are that to so many people, and you are inclusive in that regard.
I think we need to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially in today's day and times. Like, I don't know about you guys, but at least for myself, I find it quite easy to have WoW on an autopilot, and then it's a lot easier to focus on the chat compared to quite a few other games.
Yeah.
I think so. I think your gameplay when you're streaming, and I've learnt so much in I think it's been 13 weeks, so much about streaming, and I watch a lot of other streamers, and we try and find other streamers as well to support and to highlight. But I think if I was, I've watched streamers who raid, and it is so difficult to concentrate on your gameplay and also concentrate on your community, so hard to juggle. So obviously a lot of what we do is fairly casual, and it's introducing new folks as well. So many people don't play WoW, but they do now.
Yeah. Which I think is one of the things that it's the secret that I think Blizzard and a lot of game companies realize, is that that you are marketed for the game.
Very much so.
That's it.
Yeah, so many, and one came on tonight and said I wasn't going to play WoW again, I wasn't going to come back, but now I am. And we have a response in our community, we just say, welcome home.
That's it. I noticed on your stream today that you've set up at least an EU community on the EU community tab, haven't you? I presume you've got one for NA/Oceanic?
Yes, we have communities for NA OCE, we have communities for EU, we have communities for Horde, and we have communities for Alliance, because we don't differentiate between them. And we now play both, so we accept everyone, and we play with everyone.
Are you predominant? I'm sure somebody would ask, but are you predominantly blue or red?
We were brought up blue.
Yeah, lady after my own heart.
We were brought up blue. That's how we put it. That's how we put it.
I did notice with the communities, one thing that I that I don't like, aside from the fact that you can't log into like the EU without logging out of the NA. I noticed on the mobile app, the communities don't show up there. and it's like,
I didn't know
no.
that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that.
I think it's one of those things that could get brought up, which would be real beneficial for like the length of the game in general.
because like I have a couple different computers that I work on, and like I have to,
Yeah.
I forget to log into BattleNet because like I've got BattleNet on this machine. It's like, okay, so then I go to here, I'm like, oh wow, people have been talking in these communities, and I didn't see it because if I log in on
I wasn't aware of that at all. But it is good to know. It's good to know for me, for folks that are joining the communities. Because I didn't really know much about communities until fairly recently. One of my moderators told me about it. And for a lot of people, this is their help in getting back into the game, especially if they're new. And we've got a lot of new people who've never seen the game. Nothing excites me more than having someone come in the channel and say, I've never played WoW before, I'm brand new. I love people who are brand new to the game. My mum just started the game today.
nice
People. I know, she's in. Got her.
Did you at least get your recruiter friend bonus applied in there before?
Yes, I did.
nice. And you know that you will get game time after 12 months, right? That like
Oh right, yeah, I forgot they changed everything for it.
I didn't know that bit. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Whatever it is. I think I'm getting a camel or something at some point.
Yeah, it's something along the lines of that. It's there are a lot of changes coming, and I mean, you've mentioned about new people. It's a good thing because there's also, I don't think a lot of it was touched in the news that came out this week because I don't think anybody asked about it. But there's the mentor system that's been data mined as well.
I did read about that. There was a mentor system in another game we played. I think it might have been Guild Wars 2 have a mentor system.
I know Final Fantasy 14 has a mentor system.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're a new, so the way it works in Final Fantasy 14 is they have a new and returning player channel, and the mentors are in there. But obviously, with the way the game works, there's mentors for like hunting, gathering, and then just your main classes.
Okay.
But new players, a player is classed as new until they finish the main scenario for the recent expansion.
okay.
Oh, okay. That's a good way of doing it. I was wondering at what point do you need a mentor, and at what point do the mentors finish that role? So that would make sense if it was a starting
If something similar comes in for Shadowlands, I imagine they'd be classed as new until they hit 50. Is the way I could see it.
Right.
Because hopefully by the time you've hit 50, you have a vague understanding of how your class is going to work.
I would hope so by 50 if 60 is the cap.
I said vague understanding.
Vague.
Okay, good, because I'm still learning about my class.
Aren't we all? Something came up on my screen the other day and I thought, what is that? And I thought, I'm a warlock. I should know what that is.
Yeah. It's brilliant stuff. Mr. Frazley.
Yes.
Or Sir Frazley, I should say.
Absolutely.
And because you have had a very busy week yourself,
Yes.
both personal and in the game. I'm not sure how much of it you want to share. But what have you been up to? And then I'll let you divulge how much as you want to do, my friend.
Actually, yeah, I'll divulge because I don't think I was on the last one. Changed my pronouns and all that to they them, and so in the world, and then in WoW, I've been doing mount runs, trying to get the stuff going, but then I had no luck. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to some of the Legion stuff because I got through all the old stuff up to like Draenor. I didn't finish Siege and stuff like that. There's a few like Legion and Pandaria I got to still go in and do. But I went into Karazhan and there's this timed mount that has like 8 minutes to get the Emberworm. Yeah. And I thought I messed it up because I forgot to get the keys after at the banquet hall. So I had to go back and forward. And I get to the end and it drops. I'm like,
Yay.
yes. So now I don't have to go back there except for Nightmare 2.0. I got to get that one.
Which is a lovely mount.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
That's all that matters is that you had luck with your mounts. You know, it's always a nice feeling to have something that drops. I haven't had much luck, but then I had a lot of luck the other week. So.
Oh, I did also get one more mount drop. It dropped from Blizzard. I got the Mecha Gnome Dragon.
Oh, the Mecha Dragon, yes. So the new 6-month thing from Blizzard's in, isn't it? Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
it's beautiful.
I photoshopped my face on the launcher image because Spaz said, "Hey, you should Photoshop." I was like, "Perfect."
I mean, I like the mount in general. I'm just a little bit upset it's just another reskin. Like, I would have liked something a bit more original, you know?
Like a mechanical alligator, or like a mechanical trying to think of like another beast. What if we had a mechanized Ny'alotha that we defeated Ny'alotha, and they wanted to like create like, you walk around, there's like this giant eye.
Well, this is the thing, and I'm gonna do that thing that I hate myself, and yet I keep doing it every time, and that's relate things to Final Fantasy 14. Like, it's Final Fantasy. I feel like Final Fantasy 14 has a bunch more original mounts that exist more than anything else, because they have set ones which drop from like their trials, which are reskins of everything. You get a special variant of that if you own them all in a given expansion, but then they've got mounts which you can obviously buy from the shop, but they did a 4-person mount, which is obviously a unique model in itself, which is the car from Final Fantasy 15. They did a crossover event. And it's a 4-person mount.
4-person.
Yeah.
Wow. What do we have? What's the maximum that we have in a mount?
We've got 2.
Is it 2? Like, what's the hive mind? Is that
hive mind's
keep
one.
doing-
Hive.
Yeah.
Hive mind if yeah, no. I
But
think
not
that's-
everyone
you
can hop on that, can they?
it's
Yeah.
only the person you've done the hive mind with.
Yeah. So it's still restrictive.
There's the Yak too. I think the Yak can do 2 other people.
Which one's
Yes. The
Transmog, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You can kick off the traders.
Oh right, yeah, that.
yeah.
and
So
the map
3.
is- Yeah, no, that's a lot.
Yeah, but they're not comfy ride. Let's be fair. They're not comfy.
No. The one I love in Final Fantasy 14 is the behemoth one, because like that one, your character's actually resting back on like lying back on the behemoth.
Truly, I haven't seen it. I've not seen it.
I got that from, I believe, I don't remember if I had to buy that or I got the behemoth from something, but it like, and I played a little Ny'alotha. I mean, surprise me playing the small races.
So surprised, color me surprised that you did.
and I'm 21 too. I saw that.
Exactly.
That was great.
They clip me at and they're so fast with the clipping, and it's usually Raz that clips me.
Yes.
Very, very fast. I don't know.
Raz is very good about clipping things.
Indeed,
Absolutely.
Indeed, they are.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find something at the moment.
It's all good. It's all good. As I say, I've just been chatting for the last 4.5 hours, I think. Nearly 5 hours. This is my wind down period.
I'm showing it on stream, Mr. Frazley, for everyone that's not in your Discord.
Oh yes.
Frazley's head on the Mecha Dragon mount is amazing.
Yeah, that one I had to. I was just giggling like a little kid the whole time.
Pretty good. But yeah, like when it comes to myself, I've not really done a lot. A friend gifted me the latest Final Fantasy 14 expansion in the 2 months of game time. So
Oh,
That's
nice.
why you've been playing it.
Lovely.
Nice.
Oh, that's
why-
nice. That's
so,
nice.
I really enjoyed the story of Final Fantasy 14. I think the way they do a lot of stuff in the game is really good, and a lot of it could get transposed over to WoW to actually make the game better in some places. Like, it's one of those things. Stuff is done better in one game, it's not as good in the other, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I was telling somebody about the eternal bonding ceremonies in Final Fantasy 14 that I found somebody random in my free company there, and we did the whole wedding ceremony. Had people in our free company show up. I wanted the transmog because it was like a satin suit, but
yeah, you get the chonkabos and everything else.
yeah,
It's so dumb. But yeah, no, I've been logging on and doing stuff in WoW, which is essentially comes down to my mount runs on a week. Like, they're getting smaller and smaller now because I'm running out of like dungeon mounts that drop. So I mean, thankfully when we get into Shadowlands, I'll be able to go back and do the Mythic Zeros for like what's it called?
Desaralor?
BFA.
No. BFA.
Yeah. So there's King's Rest, there's
Yes.
the pirate one, Freehold. There's another one I'm trying to remember. There's at least 3. Underrot. Those 3. Those 3 drop stuff, and I've got the mount from Mythic Jaina, so I'll have to mix in Mythic N'Zoth, but I'm not sure. That'll be a couple of expansions down the line, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. Otherwise, I think the biggest thing I think we're all excited about is Shadowlands, its customizations. And yeah, pretty much how a lot more people with the options to how they can feel more inclusive in the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than anything else, I think people are excited for that. And something I saw on Twitter today, which I've linked to the guys, was this tweet specifically. So, you know, it's as a person of color, seeing the inclusivity changes being implemented is important. The ability to create someone who looks like me is fantastic, but it carries so much more weight. It lets me know that people who look like me belong in a world that I've called home for over 15 years, which is massive. Like,
It's huge. It's huge.
it's huge. Ian's come out and said that they're going to be doing a lot of guard changes around the major cities so that there's more race diversity and everything else. It astounds me that in this sort of world we have a lot of people that are crying out about this, and it's just like I don't understand it. Like, why? Well, I mean, I do, because I see what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
But it's just you know, it's a game and everybody should be represented if there's a possible way to do it as well, especially if it makes a player base of millions upon millions of people feel more inclusive in a game that they feel home in.
Yeah.
Second home.
Because I realize I've been privileged that my skin color has been in the game.
Yes.
And until I saw this, I did not realize as much that it wasn't there.
And I guarantee you, if you look at a company the size of Blizzard, and if you lined up all of their employees, you would have great diversity. And I believe there's quite a lot of diversity with the Blizzard employee base as it is. Yet in the game that they make, it has not been. And I'm going to pull on a word that you said there, which is home, what the tweet said and what you just said, that people call this home. And often that equates to a very safe place. That is a place that you go for relaxation and fun and friends and social, but it's also a safe place for whatever you may be vulnerable to out in the real world. And if home doesn't look like you, it goes a little bit back to not finding someone that looked like me on Twitch, but in something as important as a game, which it is really important to many of us, and I'll put me in there too, to not see you there over the years, that surely would have an impact on you. I think that it would.
Well, and I've had friends who are transgender who have used the game to try out a different gender on themselves. And this past week we got amazing change by Blizzard to remove the cost for gender changes.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. So many people happy about that. So many people happy about that. That one little thing.
I don't think people understand how much more of a small change can affect people in such a wide arc, you know? Like, just by seeing the tweet itself, you know, it's like people alone, just for the ability to make their character or change their character in that way to represent themselves in the game, they feel better.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw one who said that the dysphoria that came from not being able to change the gender to reflect you makes you not want to play the game, and it makes you not feel safe to be at home.
I agree with you. You know.
But it's I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of stuff to come. I mean, the biggest thing that we got to hope is, I mean, it helps in the fact that there are transmog options in place now to hide a lot of the armor so that you can show a lot more of yourself.
Yeah.
I feel I feel like the next step would be body transmogrification, like in the form of like adding tattoos and various other things so you can represent more of yourself in the game.
Absolutely.
So it's less of like a blank canvas per se, you know? But I feel like the models themselves need the next step up as well,
Yes.
as well as the armor types as well, to allow that sort of thing. So
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think this is a big step. I think, yes, this is great. Let's
Oh, yeah.
applaud this, because it'll, you know, to me, it speaks of we validate you. The company is
Yeah. saying
saying we validate you for who you want to be, however that looks, we validate you. And everyone wants to be validated in life. They do. And that includes in the game. So I agree with you. I think it's a good step, but it's the very first step. And I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because like one that is not being able to choose what type of clothing you wear. That if you pick a gender, you're still locked to that clothing. And I think that's still that needs to change. I know that's probably there's probably more to it on like the model side, but yeah, I mean, so there's still more to come.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot, I think, at this point that the game could do to represent the people that play it. Like, I'm sure yourself, Frazley, would like it if there was an option for pronouns. So
Absolutely.
that, you know, the characters could refer to you in a pronoun type way. I'm sure, like, the more body sliders to exist in a game, yes, that would probably be the hardest thing because that's definitely going to be engine restrictive. But to allow it, well, it gives more customization between characters themselves, and B, not everybody wants to be like massive individuals, you know. Sometimes they want to be smaller individuals, like with smaller skin types, you know. I'm trying to say this as politely as possible, in a way to represent themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's not. Sometimes people pick a model because it's what they know they're going to be looking at. Sometimes people make a character because it represents themselves and it's what they would do in the game.
Like, I'm glad orcs can be upright because it sounds trivial, but I did not like having an orc with hunched over back because at that time I was trying to have better posture and I didn't feel at home.
I mean, you also weren't green either. But,
Well, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, it's. I think inclusivity is a harder topic to talk about than you actually imagine. Like, I came in there and I was like, right, let's talk about it, and then I'm like, feeling like I'm treading on eggshells to make sure, like, I don't offend somebody with what I'm trying to get across, you know, because there are going to be people who are like, oh, grr, my fantasy game, how dare you involve stuff like this. But then for the people that want to have stuff added, you got to make sure that there's certain things that you say that's not going to offend them as well. So
It's talking about it, but with respect and saying that we're all still learning and we're all trying to be allies to different people.
Yeah. And it's being aware that you will stumble. It's being aware that sometimes you may inadvertently offend, but the thing is, it would not be malicious. And I think in trying to embrace inclusivity, it's making it known that you are trying very hard to be inclusive and to take on board any guidance that you need from those who can give it to you. If I made that clear. I don't know if I made that very clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I said something on a stream and somebody came back and explained how I can change the wording of what I did to be more inclusive. So I've been doing a lot of growing and trying to foster inclusivity.
And we do the same in our community, and it's ongoing. It's dynamic, and it's not easy. You don't simply say, "I'm an ally, and this is an inclusive space in this community." It's work. You need to always learn. You need to always be open to learning to what inclusivity means.
I think a large part of it is also, when all of us were younger and we grew up and we were like, our parents or our grandparents had troubles confirming to technology, and we were like, well, I picked it up easily, why can't you? I guess the same as of the younger generation now. They're coming into it and they're learning all of these things, and we need to make sure that we're not left behind.
Yeah.
Actually, ahead of it, so we don't get left behind with everything that's changing in the world.
Because even when I was a kid, it was still a newer concept, and back then it was fringe. I mean, and it's amazing to even see the acceptance has been increased since then.
No, absolutely. I'd agree with that.
And we all have a part in it. We all have a part in it.
Well, we need to be those people, like, as content creators, as people with any like sphere of influence. We need to be like there, like helping people like accept this change and move on. I think that is a responsibility on people with audiences of any size.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Because all three of us have a platform that speaks to people, and I mean, lurkers are listening to us at any time, and always being mindful of like what we're saying.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And both positive and negative. And you can, I think it's about having the strength in your own values and what you set out to do, to challenge those who challenge your values. And so, for example, our community, the coop, we call it the coop, the chicken coop, both my husband and I, because we do the stream often together, are very strong in challenging anyone who may, rebut what we're trying to build. And I know that I have lost some numbers when we started to be very vocal about having an inclusive space, and that doesn't worry me one bit. I would have loved to have educated and helped them understand a bit more what inclusivity is, but if they leave, they leave. But we do have, as you say, quite the opportunity to share information, and nothing else by how we are as people.
I saw a tweet about a bartender who saw that one of their patrons had some symbols that I don't want to mention because I don't want to give that group any glorification, but he basically told them, you get out of here. And the person's like, but the person was being fine. But he said, if you let that person there, that person will bring a friend. And then by the time you're trying to root that out, you can't. And I'm thinking, and someone retweeted about the digital space. I'm like, yeah, it's true. The people that we allow to be there speaks volumes.
I think you both make very valid points. Like, it'd be brilliant if we could literally just teach everybody who has a misgiving about the way they react to other people and about the learning of it, and it's very difficult. But at the end of the day, as Mr. Frazley's mentioned, Sir Frazley, or I got it's gonna be have to change. That's a changing point for me.
It's all good. I'm still learning by myself.
If people don't want to learn and they don't want to stick around to learn, then there's nothing we can do about that,
No.
And because we need to have those spaces that are open for people to learn, and if they don't want to be there, there's nothing we can do. We can't exactly just grab them by the scruff of their necks, force them in a chair, and tell them to listen, because then we end up being no better than the people who don't want to change and want to force their ideals down other people's.
That's true.
Well, and I've been learning about how not to be desperate for friends. I mean, because starting out, it's like, okay, so somebody likes me. It's like, okay, I don't want to do anything to wrong their friendship. But sometimes having to be like, maybe they're not the best for me, and maybe I need to move on from them.
Yeah, I completely get that. I think a good example I can have, maybe, it's not exactly the same thing because it's not about friendship per se, but I have a couple of friends who are very knowledgeable on how certain developers or certain people act in communities, and I've linked them stuff, not completely unaware of stuff, and they're like, why are you linking me this guy's stuff? He's done X or Y. And I was just like, well, I don't know. And I think he turned around and he turned around the other day and he put out a tweet which was basically like, I have to understand myself that not everybody knows everything about everything, and so I've got to be careful about not losing the friendships over my misgivings and everything else. But then that's at that point that you got to learn, I think, which of your friends are willing to listen, and you got to find where your friends have their boundaries with what they're willing to accept as well.
That's a good point.
I'm finding that in even the people that being too needy, or people who don't respect me. I mean, as in, not that I respect them, but
I get what you're saying.
Friendship's a two-way street, and it's finding that boundary, being like, okay, that person's not really showing respect. Maybe I need to not give them as much attention as somebody else who is showing me a little more respect. I can respect them more. It's not a. That's definitely not a. That's not a 100% concrete idea, but it's there's a lot more nuances to it.
Absolutely. No, I completely get that. It's bizarre because you talk about needy, and I'm like, especially with the way the world's going at the moment, because I'm not able to organize meetups with my friends, I find I'm very dependent on having to talk to people, like in my social circle, like more online. So that's why I've been trying to lean towards more like multiplayer games that I can play with them, because I miss my friends, you know. I miss those 2 times a year I can get everybody down and we can just like play board games and everything else. You know, and it's weird.
Hard. It's hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's as hard for you guys. I think you've got it all sorted down there in Australia, haven't you? You guys were fine until the Brits came over and re-screwed everything.
Well, in terms of pandemic, we're not doing so fine in our state. We've just been locked down again as of 2 days ago. So we're now locked down for another. So that's what we're referring to. We've been locked down now for another 6 weeks. So our state is not doing so well. But I'm not much of a going out kind of person anyway. So I'll just keep on doing what I'm doing online. I need a T-shirt. I said once, because I'm a social worker professionally, and I wanted to have a T-shirt made that said the antisocial social worker.
Oh, we have so many of those over here. Like a lot of university students wore them, and when I was working in retail, because I was working in like a game store, and we have a lot of like university students which come in and they're just wearing the antisocial social club.
There we are.
It's just like,
see? I just want to put the social work profession on the bottom of it just to be, you know. But it is difficult. And I have to say, I was brought to tears the other day when I was watching a streamer, and I won't call them out, and they said, you've changed the lives of people. And I see myself, I have this little joke that I'm this weird little fish in Azeroth, you know, in streaming. I'm this tiny little person who streams. And he said, no, you don't understand. We know that you've made people happy from being in your stream. And I got quite teary. They didn't know that. And then I got a message in-game, a whisper in-game to my main. And they said, you don't know who I am because I don't talk in stream. I lurk. But I suffer from PTSD and anxiety, and you helped me start my day. And again, I was, you know, really teary because I had no idea. And I turned to hubby and I said, is there that much unkindness in the world that something like a stream can make such an impact on people? And obviously it does. And at the moment when the world is so not normal, as we know, nor I think it will go back really the way that it was, I think what we do as streamers, however little we are in Azeroth, can have a huge impact on just one person. It really moved me. It still does. It still moves me so much. Just sort of share that.
Because there is a connection that I've seen both as a viewer and a streamer, that you feel that there's somebody else out there, that you aren't alone. I mean, it's a balance between like wanting too much attention from that other person, but there's not really another medium that I say has the same one-on-one interactivity, because like when we're streaming, we're on our game, but then we have somebody out there like, how you doing? Oh, how's your day been? Okay. And sometimes those can build into further friendships.
And just being asked, how are you? Just being asked, and watching your stream, and when I hear you say be awesome, I love it when you say be awesome. I love that. And I hear that and I take that away every single time I watch your stream. Don't know if you know that. Every single time.
Oh, I'll thank you, because I say that because like I need to be awesome in my life, and I struggle with that. So it's when I'm telling somebody else, I'm telling them what I'm telling myself.
I think we all do. Like, I think you're bang on the money, both of you. Like you need that sense of positivity that's just there, and I think that's where because I'm still trying to get from the path of like just watching VODs on YouTube to like watching more live stream content. And like I find like in the evening I get to catch up with like Frazley and everything else, but then there's people like yourself, Haughty, as I managed to pop in earlier on. You're on an earlier sense of the morning, you know, for me. So there's definitely more that I need to myself go and catch some more of that positive content, because I feel like there's more in the live stream space with more positive creators.
Yeah,
there is, because YouTube's a toxic place in times. Like, unless there's a lot of drama that's just everywhere, and it's so hard to just.
There can be.
Yeah,
and it's never like, when we say positivity, it's never like not acknowledging that life can suck some days, because it really can. But it's being like, okay, here's where life is. How can we how can we grow as people? I never like the fake positivity because that doesn't
You can
does
see
no
it.
good. But
You can see
yeah,
No, absolutely.
I mean, there's a streamer that we all know that that their past that they were a lot more toxic, but they've actually become a lot less toxic as they've grown. And yesterday, Jay the Bard put out a video about how Asmongold has actually been there for the depression, and I was like, wow, somebody that I admit I had soured myself on their past. I actually DM'd Asmongold, not to get anything back, but just say thank you for changing. Thank you for
He has been so different, like Asmon, between before his break and after his break. Like you can actually see it when you're, because I don't have a chance to catch Asmon's live streams, but I catch a lot of the VODs, and a lot of it is going to be reaction stuff more than anything else. But the guy's smart. I've said it always. Like Asmon is a very smart individual. And he knows exactly what he's doing,
and he's changed.
And he definitely doesn't lash out as much, you know, and he thinks things through. But yeah.
Yeah, no, we brought him up in stream today, actually. We were talking about mental health, and someone said something about Asmongold, and I said, I am thrilled that he's now an advocate. I think it's not just now, I think he's been an advocate for quite a while.
Yeah.
But his recent content regarding mental health and, you know, some of the vlogs that I enjoy the most is when he's sitting outside in his garden. I don't watch a lot of his content. I watch a little bit for information regarding the game. But when you see the man Asmongold and when he's talking honestly about his life and mental health, that fellow is so commendable. So commendable.
And I think it should be like a warning for all. It's definitely been a warning for me that, like, who am I letting influence me? Who in my circle of friends, like what energy am I letting? Because if I let a chat turn me negative, or if I let different things, how is it going to affect me? And if I'm catering to that,
yeah. There's a lot there to process, but I think the core message is be positive. If you need to talk to someone, there will be someone in your social circle to talk to.
Yes.
Especially regarding mental health. If you need a positive place to go, I mean, the three of us generally around most days during the week, and we've all got you covered over most time zones. Come and hang with us. We'll generally talk to you. But yeah, I think that's a good point to call it a day. We've been live for quite a bit. I don't really think there's much I want to talk about more today. Not that I don't want to not talk to you guys. You're fun to talk to.
Maybe another one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I feel like I don't want to talk too much more about the subjects we've already done today, because I think that we've said enough on it. So, Haughty, where can they find you around the internet?
You can. I'm growing in my space. So I'm on Twitch at HaughtyChicken. I'm on Instagram at HaughtyChicken Gaming. Who took my name? HaughtyChicken Gaming. I'm on Twitter. I love Twitter. HaughtyChicken also there. And YouTube. I'm making YouTube content. It's a bit empty at the moment. Give me a couple of weeks, and that's where you can find me.
Okay. Mr. Frazley.
You can find me on Twitter at FrazleyTastic. You can find me on my podcast, well, one of my other many podcasts at gnome.podcast.com. And on Frazlecast, I talk with different people that I meet in the gaming community. Primarily the WoW, but I do bridge out. Like, I've got a guest coming on who doesn't play WoW, but they do some really cool retro streams and stuff like that. So I'm talking with them this week.
Nice.
And you can find me on Twitch practically every day at twitch.tv/FrazleyS or gnome.live.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you can find me on my main account at Titans Creed. If you just want the games and the streams and the podcast, you can follow at Gaming Phoenix. Otherwise, you can find me live most days of the week at Project Phoenix Productions on Twitch. And you can find VODs of the podcast and some of the charity stuff that's still going up over on youtube.com/Project Phoenix Productions for all the VODs I do of the Let's Race content. Ladies and gentlemen, my hair's growing back. It's been a week since I've had to shave it all off.
I didn't even notice it this week, because when I saw it, I was like, whoa, are you just like... what
It'll grow back.
I haven't seen you for 2 weeks, so
2 weeks.
I missed you.
A lot can change in 2 weeks.
Well, that's it, isn't it? But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being around today. Thank you very much to our guest, HaughtyChicken, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The early hours of the morning. As always, thank you for Mr. Frazley for joining us. And we'll be back next week. Who have we got with us next week, Mr. Frazley?
We have got True Villain Manny for Azeroth, who, by the way, their new home on Warcraft Radio looks gorgeous. They have a new logo, theme song, so excited for them.
Nice.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, guys. Until next time, we will see you. But as Mr. Frazley always likes to say...
I'm going to let HaughtyChicken say it this time.
Be awesome.
I love it!
Whether Horde or Alliance, find more stories around Azeroth on iTunes, Spotify and YouTube.